everyone, my name is Prism, and welcome back to another video. It has been a long time since I've done an episode in this series, and you know what, I shouldn't have to, because the Mission Impossible franchise is over, so there shouldn't be any more films to cover. Except, I didn't cover every single one. You see, when I went to see Final Reckoning, I had not finished every single Mission Impossible film. I'd gotten extremely close, but there was one that I forgot. It was 2018's Mission Impossible Fallout, which in my opinion is, I think, the best Mission Impossible film. Now, for why I think it's the best Mission Impossible film, we'll get to that in a second, but my general thoughts, I love the movie. I think Mission Impossible Fallout is the most entertaining of all of the Mission Impossible films. Not a minute goes by without an action sequence. Obviously, that isn't a fully true statement, but a ton of the movie is packed with action. Not only is it action, it is amazing action. The bathroom fight scene, the club fight scenes, you have the entirety of the cliff fight scene with the villain. There's so much action in this film, and the music and the editing makes it all work so well together. It's a really fun experience just getting to watch this. I watched this in a car, and I found this so enjoyable. It was really fun getting to see all these action set pieces, getting to kind of see the characters working together, seeing the cause and effect, seeing the continuations this film had on certain plot threads. There's a lot in Mission Impossible Fallout, but it all puts it together for a really fun installment. I really enjoyed myself with this film. I think that, honestly, this should have been where the franchise ended. You know, if this had been the last one, if there wasn't a Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, I think it would have been a perfect ending, because it would have not had all the loose ends tied, but it gave a real Mission Impossible experience. You had the mission, the team, the music, you had all of it. It is such a well-done film, and it is baffling to me how we went from this to Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, which I like Dead Reckoning, but Final Reckoning has so many issues. And it's just like, how did the writer and the director of this film make Final Reckoning? That just doesn't make sense to me. But I've already, criticized Final Reckoning before. But this film, I think, is excellent. It is so much fun. It is a really enjoyable experience. But there is quite a bit I want to talk about spoiler-wise, so let's do that. So, when it comes to spoilers for Mission Impossible Fallout, I think the real reason I need to put spoilers up is because of what the plot does. Because of what the narrative is built around. Yes, there's the actual plot of Ethan Hunt's team taking out the, syndicate, which, yes, we dealt with them in the last film, but there's a more serious outbreak. Basically, Rogue Nation dealt with the syndicate, but there's this other force called the Apostles, and Ethan Hunt and his team have to deal with them. And I think one of the things that I will say kind of got me off with this film, just a little bit, is the whole idea that Ethan Hunt doesn't want anything to happen to his team. Now, there's nothing wrong with that statement. I think that's a great character trait to have. I think that is a great trait that, he can be in a mission and he cares about the individual lives of the people around him, along with the lives of the millions of people counting on him. But I do think that maybe he is a little bit too clinging to them. Not clinging even, just a little bit too caring for them. With the opening sequence literally having the villains get a hold of these bombs because he was not willing to let Luther die. Now, I'm not saying that Luther should have died, but I am saying that, what if the villains had completed their mission? What if the Apostles had taken over the world and blown up everything. And it was just because he didn't want to risk losing one of his members. I think that's a little bit of a concern, but I totally see why he doesn't think about that, because he thinks about the person right in front of him. He's the type of, if he was in the military, he wouldn't just care about the people at home being protected. He would care about his soldier mates. He would care about those around him. I think that's a great trait, but I do wonder, is that, what's it going to cost in the long run? That is a slight issue I have. That's a great thing, but how far is that going to go, and is that going to become a problem when he can't complete the mission because he wants to protect those closest to him? Meanwhile, the world could be getting destroyed. But, that to be said, that's a small thing. But positives for this film. From the opening sequence, we are going back to Mission Impossible 3 with Julie, his love interest, the one that he had the most in-depth relationship with. He was going to marry her, and he decided not to because he kept leaving in the middle of the night to go on these missions, or he didn't, and then his wife wondered what was the world doing while he was staying home, and if he left, what would be happening safety-wise if he's not at home. It was a big dilemma. So he obviously, they made an agreement, they went their separate ways. I really like that they're touching on this, that they're kind of explaining what happened, that they're giving detail to this, that he's still haunted by this idea, and that this film is trying to give him closure. I don't think it's perfect closure, because the last scene we get of them is, I could say it isn't perfect because they don't outright say this is the end. But I think they make it very clear that they're both happy with what they're doing. And I guess in that sense, it's really good closure. I think maybe where I have an issue is that now, after this film, he goes and gets relationships with other people. He, has a romance with Grace. And I'm like, but you just decided, hey, this was a bad idea, so we're doing this again. We're literally putting you with another female lead, and we're gonna hope this doesn't go terribly, even though your wife almost died in Mission Impossible 3. I think, they shouldn't have done that. I think that was bad writing, because you wrote him to be a responsible character, that they made this hard decision, and then a couple years later, oh, never mind, I'm just with someone else now. And it's not like he can't do that, it's just why would you do that, I think other positives, Henry Cavill in this. I like Henry Cavill as an actor. He's got this certain sort of charisma and toughness to him that makes him really cool to see on screen. I thought the entire fight, first of all, the reveal, I did not expect it. I did not expect the twist they were going with, that Ethan Hunt and his team were going to leave this guy they captured, and we're going to go talk to the White Widow, which was a big surprise for me. I'm like, oh, hang on, wait a second. She isn't just one of Gabriel's henchmen, she's also in this film. So that was a big surprise, because I had no idea they were connected in that way. But he basically is like, okay, we're going to go talk to the White Widow, making this guy think, okay, whatever. Henry Cavill's character's like, okay, I can say whatever I want, because we're bad guys together. I did expect him to turn evil, because I've seen a lot of spoilers, but I didn't expect how they were going to pull it. I'm like, is Ethan Hunt really going to go walk off when this guy's, an antagonist, about to do some really bad stuff? And then just the reveal when Benji's the one under the mask, and it was all a setup, I thought was hilarious. And I thought was so cool and so fitting. And then the fight scene after, and then Tom Cruise running across London, and he hurt himself doing that jump. And you can see it. You can clearly see he put in the effort there. But just that whole sequence of him running, the whole plane chase, there is so much awesome about this film. I love Mission Impossible Fallout. I can't really identify one reason, but it just all works. It's what I want for Mission Impossible. It's Tom Cruise doing his own stunts, the team, the music, the action, the editing, the story, you know, it's pretty basic. Oh, this organization wants to nuke the world because they're mad about politics. Because they figure the more the world suffers, the more peace there will be. You know, it's not the biggest, most complex evil scheme. It's not like Shakespeare or anything. But it's fun, and it's just a great popcorn movie. I love the final fight with Ethan Hunt and Walker, I think. I forget his name. Henry Cavill's character, where they're just fighting on the cliff, and they're getting all, you know, kind of bloody from it. Like, it's a really intense fight sequence. My only complaint, I wanted the fight sequences to be even longer. Like, the bathroom fight was cool, but I could have taken it for another 5 to 10 minutes. Same with this fight sequence. But I just really like that it's the two of them going at it, and then at the end, it's like, oh, did the world blow up? Nope, they got it just in time. I thought that was really cool. And I love the little ending bit where he's like, how close were we? And they're like, as always. I don't know what they actually said. I forget. But it was just so cool. Like, I love Fallout. I think it is the essential modern reboot of Mission Impossible. It gets everything. I think it's the first film since the original that's really recaptured the magic, and maybe Ghost Protocol. Because it just gets all the pieces right, and it generates a really fun narrative and a really fun adventure. And the cinematographer of this is, I think, doing Supergirl now, which I'm really excited for that film. So that's really cool, because there are some pretty cool shots in this. They're not the most breathtaking thing ever. I mean, this is Mission Impossible. This isn't like Dune, where you're making a whole new area. But there are some very beautiful sequences. I really like Fallout. I will just say that. I really like Fallout. I think everything works together. I just think it is a really fun story, and I'm really happy that this is kind of the end of the franchise that I got to experience. This being the last one that I've seen this year, this is kind of what I'm going to have in my memory for Mission Impossible. This film, which is just awesome. But I know you guys want to see my ranking of all 8 films. And I will tell you that very shortly I will be doing a video ranking every single Mission Impossible movie. If you're wondering why I put my hand down here, well, it's because I own every single one. Except the new one, of course. I own all these. All these are Mission Impossible movies. You got the original, to the 7th, and of course Fallout, and I will be picking up Final Reckoning as soon as I can. I'm sorry for my stutters, I'm getting over a cold, but I'm just really excited because, man, I love this movie. Fallout is amazing. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. My final rating is 9.5 out of 10, and take care. I'll see you all in the next video when I reveal Superman and Man of Steel. Bye!